The Galactic Council chamber hummed with the voices of 1,000 species, their translators creating a symphony of overlapping conversations. Oliver stood at the center of the circular hall, his plain human attire looking remarkably simple compared to the elaborate garments and exoskeletons worn by the alien delegates surrounding him. Ava, a representative from the Zeltarian Empire, a species known for their crystalline bodies and superiority complex, stood at the elevated platform reserved for senior council members. Her faceted form caught the chamber's light, casting rainbow patterns across the floor as she prepared to address the assembly. And now, Ava's voice rang out, amplified by the chamber's acoustics. We must discuss the human petition for advanced FTL technology. She paused, and Oliver could hear the disdain dripping from her words. Though I question why we waste our time with such primitive requests. Oliver remained still, his hands clasped behind his back. He had prepared for this moment for months, gathering data, building alliances, and crafting arguments that would convince the Council that humanity deserved access to the same faster-than-light drives that other species took for granted. The humans, Ava continued, her crystalline fingers gesturing dismissively toward Oliver, have barely left their own solar system. They still use chemical propulsion for most of their vessels. They war among themselves over resources that are abundant throughout the galaxy. She leaned forward, her multifaceted eyes gleaming. Tell me, human, why should we give world-ending technology to a species that can't even achieve planetary unity? The chamber fell silent. All eyes and various other sensory organs turned toward Oliver. He took a breath and stepped forward. Counselor Eva, with respect, humanity has achieved remarkable progress in the mere 2 centuries since we developed spaceflight. 2 centuries. Ava's laugh was like wind chimes in a storm. The Zeltarians achieved interstellar travel within 50 years of discovering fire. Your species took 10,000 years just to leave your planet's atmosphere. She turned to address the other council members. I move that we table this discussion for another 500 years. Perhaps by then, the humans will have evolved past their barbaric tendencies. Murmurs of agreement rippled through portions of the assembly. Oliver felt his jaw tighten, but he maintained his composure. Furthermore, Eva added, warming to her subject, I've reviewed humanity's history. Wars, genocides, environmental destruction, all within the last century alone. And this is the species that wants us to trust them with technology that could crack planets? She focused her gaze on Oliver again. Perhaps you should go home and learn to play nicely with each other before asking for the adults' toys. The condescension in her tone was palpable. Several delegates actually laughed harsh. Alien sounds that echoed off the chamber walls. Oliver stood there for a long moment, looking at Eva, then slowly scanning the faces and face equivalents of the assembled council. He saw amusement, contempt, indifference. Very few showed any sign of sympathy or support. Then something shifted in his expression. The hopeful petitioner's mask fell away, replaced by something harder, colder. He smiled not with warmth, but with the kind of smile that didn't reach his eyes. I see, Oliver said quietly. His voice was calm, but it carried throughout the now silent chamber. Thank you for clarifying the council's position, Counselor Eva. He reached into his jacket and withdrew a small data chip, holding it up for all to see. This contains humanity's petition, our technological assessments, our proposals for gradual integration into galactic society. I spent 8 months preparing it. He looked at the chip for a moment, then closed his fist around it. I won't be submitting it today. Ava's crystalline form seemed to sharpen, finally showing some wisdom. No, Oliver interrupted, his voice still quiet, but firm enough to cut through her words. Not wisdom, just recognition. He turned slowly, making eye contact with as many delegates as he could. You want to know why you should share your technology with humanity? You shouldn't. You're absolutely right. Counselor Eva, we should do this ourselves. The murmur started again, but Oliver continued speaking. You mock us for taking 10,000 years to reach space. But we did it alone. Nobody handed us the equations. Nobody gave us the materials. We figured it out one painful step at a time. His voice grew stronger. You laugh at our conflicts, but every species in this chamber has a history written in blood. The difference is that we remember ours and work to overcome it, rather than pretending we were always civilized. He began walking toward the exit, his footsteps echoing in the sudden silence. And you know what the real joke is? Oliver stopped at the doorway and looked back. We didn't need your FTL drives. We have 3 different teams back home working on the problem right now. I came here because I believed in cooperation, in building bridges between species, in learning from those who came before us. He shook his head slowly. But I was wrong. You don't want partners. You want children to lecture. Ava's form had gone completely still, the light refracting through her body, creating stark, unmoving patterns. Humanity will figure out FTL travel, Oliver said with absolute certainty. It might take us another decade, maybe 2. And when we do, we'll remember this day. We'll remember who offered a hand and who offered mockery. He smiled that cold smile again. And then we'll see who needs whom. He turned and walked out, the door sliding shut behind him with a soft hiss. The Galactic Council chamber remained silent for a full 30 seconds, an eternity in political time. Every delegate stared at the door where the human had exited, his words hanging in the air like a challenge, a promise, and a warning all at once. Ava's crystalline body had lost its brilliance, appearing somehow duller in the chamber's light. No one spoke. No one knew what to say. 17 years later, human ships with their own independently developed FTL drives would begin appearing at the edges of known space, and the galaxy would realize that Oliver hadn't been making empty threats. He had been making a prediction.